My sleep this weekend was absolute cheeks. We already have 2 admissions. We're already getting calls from the floor.
We live for this.
Why are you guys being so licky right now?
One of those like lava lamps.
That's a call from the floor. Job never ends. Welcome back, vlog. It's week 2 of being on night shift. Let's have a good week. Hello. Love you guys. I've got my protein shake and my coffee. Hopefully this gets me through the night. Alright guys, I am at the hospital. Not gonna lie, my sleep this weekend was absolute cheeks. Like I was in a battle with myself to decide if I wanted to get back on a daytime schedule for my 2 days off this weekend or if I should just stay on a nighttime schedule. Saturday I tried. I stayed up until like 10 a.m. and then I ended up just falling asleep until 5 and then I was up until 6 a.m. the next morning. So then I thought last night I'd be tired, but I ended up staying up until like 4 a.m. this morning. That's what happens after you work 5 nights in a row. Luckily I was able to take a nap this afternoon because tonight we are admitting patients from the emergency room, so I think it's gonna be a busy night. Anyway, I have to go sign out with the day team, so wish me luck and I'll catch you guys in a little bit. Dinner time. All right, so I got my first admit of the evening. Looks like a pneumonia, so probably antibiotics, oxygen. But of course, I need to go see the patient first before I make any decisions. All right, I already got my next admission. Looks like a small bowel obstruction, which those can be pretty dangerous, especially if they perforate. For small bowel obstructions, you definitely want to get surgery on board and make sure that they don't, get any food in their system, because if you're obstructed, nothing's gonna pass through and that's gonna make it a lot worse. Busy night. All right guys, so it's like 11 p.m. Just made myself some jasmine tea because I don't know, just sounds good right now. Definitely been busy tonight with our admissions. It's kind of been a while since I've explained admissions and some of you are probably new here. So when the ED provider decides that they want to admit the patient, they call us and I'll immediately go and do a chart review just to see what's already been worked up while they've been here. I'll also typically talk to the ER provider just to get any collateral information. I then go and see the patient and get an entire history from scratch as if I've never seen any of the current records, because I like to hear it from their words and make sure that I'm not missing anything or that the ER didn't miss anything. After I talk to the patient, I'll immediately go and put some orders in. Things like as needed medication so that the nursing staff doesn't have to ask us for them, like for blood pressure if they have high blood pressure, nausea medication. I'll also put in any additional orders that I think they need. I'll do a medication reconciliation, so put all their home medicines in, make sure that they get their home meds. Like even though you're treating one thing, you still need to keep treating their other medical problems that they didn't come in for. I'll document their code status, so if they're okay with CPR and intubation, if for some reason they go into cardiac arrest or are unable to breathe on their own. I'll then go sign out with my attending to see if they agree with my plan or if they have other recommendations and other things that they want me to order. Then I go and I talk to the patient again and update them on the plan. Oh, and last but not least, I do the note, which is probably the most time-consuming thing because you have to put everything in it: your history, your physical exam, your assessment, your plan. The notes definitely take the longest, but it's very important so that our plan is conveyed to all the other team members. That was kind of an oversimplification of what we do, but I just wanted to give you guys like the general rundown of what I'm doing when I say that I'm going and seeing an admit. Anyway, I still have work I have to catch up on, so I'll see you guys in a little bit. Headed back to the ED. In last week's vlog, someone commented asking why I'm always walking like outside whenever I'm headed to the emergency room, and it's because our resident building is right behind me and it's separate from the hospital, which as you guys can see, it's just like through this walkway. It connects like right here. It's like literally like a 30-second walk. The benefit is you have your own building and space to work in without all the noise in the hospital. But the downside is you have to walk whenever you do need to go to the hospital. But I think the pros of having it separated though outweighs the cons, because it's very nice to have such a big and comfortable workspace. Definitely something to consider for any of you guys that are applying for residency. Look at the resident workspaces. It's very important. We're feeling snacky and we're trying to control our...
One time I ate this for snack and I'm like, I just ate my dinner right here.
Oh my gosh, 400, that's
yeah,
insane.
It's so bad. I can't resist it though.
Okay, well instead we're gonna do fruit
watermelon.
and watermelon. and cry. Dude, I kind of want some Oreos. All right, so it's just past 4 in the morning. We've just been dealing with our admits all night, as well as responding to calls on the floor. That's a call from the floor. That is a page. That sound you guys just heard. Job never ends. All right, guys, I'm done for the night. Honestly, pretty chill night overall. We had like a steady pace of work between our admits and our patients on the floor that we had to respond to calls to, which actually made the night go by faster, so I didn't mind too much. Anyway, it's time to go home and get some sleep, so I'll see you guys tonight. Good morning. Night 2 out of 5. Let's go to work. Good morning. Good morning, Chewy. And just like that, I am back at the hospital. Tonight should be a lot more chill than last night because we're not admitting, and I don't think that the day team's admitted during the day, so our patient list should just consist of the patients that we had last night. It should be a chill night, but we'll see if I jinxed it. Starting the night off with boba.
Starting out strong.
Yes, ma'am.
One of those like lava lamps, right?
재수해서 알바하는 거 그만두는 게 어떨까?
Okay, so we just sat down to start watching a K-drama. We're already getting calls from the floor, which is fine. That's what we're here for. This is the job, but like...
We live for this.
Yeah, this is exactly what we want to do. We literally just started an episode. It's okay. It's the life we chose, right, Divya?
Yeah.
All right, so we have a couple hours left in this shift, which means it's about time to try to get a workout in because, as you guys know, I am training for my first marathon. In fact, I'm running my second half marathon this weekend as part of my prep. Training for a marathon has been brutal on my body. After all these long runs, getting enough protein is a must. And that's why I'm really excited to team up with Transparent Labs to prepare for my marathon. Their grass-fed whey protein isolate makes it super easy to hit my protein goals in a clean and healthy way. Depending on the flavor, it's made with just 5 to 7 natural ingredients, no artificial sweeteners, dyes, or fillers. Each serving packs 28 grams of protein sourced exclusively from grass-fed cows, which means better quality protein and a more complete amino acid profile. And because it's a pure isolate, it's so much easier to digest and absorb, so I don't get any bloating after my runs. Now, I've been loving the dark chocolate flavor. It's rich, smooth, and actually tastes like grilled chocolate. And the best part is it blends so easily. No clumps, chalky texture, just a perfectly smooth shake every time. And with 14 different flavors, you'll never get bored of Transparent Labs protein. Now, if you want to try Transparent Labs grass-fed protein for yourself, make sure to head down to the description box. With every grass-fed protein subscription, they are giving away a free starter kit. This kit includes a blender bottle and a variety pack. The variety pack has 5 single-serving protein pouches in their top flavors so that you can find your favorite. So make sure to click the link in my description or scan the QR code here on the screen. Thank you so much to Transparent Labs for sponsoring this week's video. Now let's get to training. We are done. I absolutely love coming out and seeing the sun every morning. It's probably my favorite part about these night shifts. We had a fair amount of floor calls last night, so we were relatively busy, but overall it wasn't that bad. Anyway, it's time to go home and get some rest. Good morning, guys. There's Chewy. Why are you guys being so licky right now? The best way to wake up. If you've ever thought that you should get a dog, get the dog. All right, let's get ready for work. Fit check. Let's go. All right, guys, it's night 3 out of 5. Along with covering the floor, we are admitting tonight, so kind of nervous. I have a bad feeling that it's gonna be a busy night, but just like Monday, we'll make it through. Let's have a good night. All right, we are starting off strong. We already have 2 admissions. For that, we obviously transfuse blood. You expect the hemoglobin number to go up about 1 point for every unit of blood that you transfuse. So if someone's hemoglobin is 5 and you give them 2 units of packed red blood cells, you expect that to go up to about 7. So after the blood transfusions, we will recheck to see if it improved their anemia. All right, so it's about 7 a.m. Last night was very, very busy. I'm not even joking, but for the past 12 hours, we did not stop working. We got slammed with a bunch of admissions and we had a lot to manage for our floor patients as well. Fortunately, we handled everything just fine, but not gonna lie, I'm pretty exhausted. So sorry, I couldn't do a lot of vlogging, but the vlog comes second, obviously, right? Patient care is a priority. Anyway, I'm gonna go sign out with the day team, so I'll catch you guys in a little bit. Oh my gosh, it feels so good to see the sun. All right, I'm in my car. I don't have a lot more to say than what I said earlier, but yeah, just a busy night. Nothing unexpected, of course. Like, you know, in residency, you're gonna have nights that are just absolutely insane and you're gonna work for 12 hours straight without taking a break at all. That's offset by some of the more relaxed nights. I have to be grateful for nights like tonight because 1, we made it through. 2, I think we handled everything just fine and our patients received good care. 3, nights like tonight are only going to make me a better physician, and that's what residency is about. So even though there's bags under my eyes and I'm exhausted and don't want to look at another computer screen for the next 12 hours at least, that's the job. It's the life I chose. I'm still very grateful to be here, but I'm excited to go to bed, which I can't right now because I have to go to a doctor's appointment. But after I go, then I'll go to bed and then we'll do it all over tonight. All right, let's get going. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Night 4 out of 5. We're almost there. All right, I'm back at the hospital. Not gonna lie, I don't feel super well rested, especially after last night. I got like 6 hours of sleep, which is actually pretty good for me, but I still feel very tired this evening. Last night was probably the busiest night of this rotation so far, and tonight should be a lot more relaxed because 1, we are not admitting patients tonight, and 2, I don't believe either of the day teams admitted during the day because they had didactics. So we should be able to just manage the patients on the floor, and that's pretty much it. As long as all those patients are stable, I think we should be okay. But even if they're not stable, that's why we're here. That's the job. All right, let's have a good night.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys, so it's a few hours into the shift, and so far things are quiet. Should probably knock on wood before I use the Q word like that. Compared to last night, tonight has just been a lot more chill, which is really awesome because last night was just so much more stressful. In last week's vlog, I got some questions, so I figured right now might be a good time to answer some of them. So the first one was, are you and your co-resident in charge of all the units in the hospital? So we're just covering for any patients that are on the resident teams. There are 2 resident day teams, so when we come in at night, they sign out all of their patients to us, and then we're in charge of managing any calls for those patients. Those patients could be med-surg, med-tele, they can be intermediate care status or IMC. If a patient's in the ICU, then we're still following those patients, but ICU becomes the primary team for that patient. But in the middle of the night, if the ICU team decides to downgrade the patient, then we obviously will continue care. The next question is, I always see you walking back and forth to respond to calls from the floor. Are you not able to just phone in your orders? So we get a lot of calls from the floor, mostly from nursing staff, that are asking simple questions about the patient that we can respond to just by texting them back. These are things like, can this patient get this PRN medication, or just updates on certain lab values that come back. There are other calls though that warrant you going and physically seeing the patient, which is kind of the whole reason that the residents are here at night, right? Calls that would warrant going and physically seeing the patient include things like new symptoms that the patient hasn't had while they've been in the hospital so far. So for example, if a patient was complaining about chest pain all of a sudden, I would tell the nurse okay, let's get a stat EKG, let's get some troponins, but then I would also go and physically see the patient, talk to them, try to characterize the chest pain, and get a better history from the patient. Or if the floor staff is worried about the patient's status, let's just say that their GCS is going down, right? They're maybe less oriented, they're getting confused, they are starting to have a low respiratory rate, or their oxygen saturations are going down, or their blood pressure is going down. Changes in status are a huge reason why you would go and physically see the patient. I would say for every 6 or 7 calls we get, one of those warrants going and physically seeing the patient. So we're getting paged all night, but again, they don't always warrant a visit. But I think that a good rule of thumb is that it's better to just go lay eyes on the patient and get more information than to just kind of throw out some blanket orders to the nursing staff. I just think it's due diligence as a resident. This is our job, right? That's like why we're here. So I have a pretty low threshold myself for going and seeing a patient. I feel like if we're physically here, like why would you not just go see them? But everyone's different. I think residents tend to go and see the patients, you know, in person. I think that's just better and safer for everyone. So yeah. The next question is, do you frequently round at night just like we do during the day? The answer for that is no. So obviously during the day, like we round on our patients multiple times. We go and round on our own, then we go with our attending, and then usually do like another set of rounds in the evening. At night though, patients are sleeping. Like we're not gonna go wake them up to see how they're feeling. Like patients already don't sleep well in the hospital, so we're not just gonna go wake them up to be like, hey, how's it going, you know? So we don't really round at night. My coworkers and I do like to go around and like check in on the nurses and just say hi, make sure that they know who we are, and let them know that we're around. And if they need anything, then they can ask us. Sometimes it reminds them when we like are physically there. So not so much rounding, but more so checking in if we're getting paged. And lastly, do we get any sort of weekend or night differential on our paychecks? Absolutely not. We do not get paid any differently for working nights or weekends. And that's a big difference between being a resident or a physician in general and being, you know, another healthcare team member like nurses and PAs. They typically get a differential for working nights or working weekends. We absolutely do not get a pay differential. Something to think about if you're considering this field. All right, I hope that clarified a little bit more about what we do as residents here at night. I'll check in with you guys in a little bit.
Two days until the 5K and 3 days until the half marathon. Don't really have any more training time, so this is all I got. And Divya is gonna join for the next one.
For sure. If it were to happen.
Such a good night last night. We like barely got any calls from the floor. Everyone was stable. It was definitely much needed after the night prior. But tonight we are back to admitting, so it's time to go get some rest. All right guys, happy Friday. It's night 5 out of 5 and we are admitting tonight. Hopefully we have a smooth night. All right, starting off strong, we have the first admit of the night. Looks like a chest pain. There are a lot of tests that we can do for cardiac workups. EKGs and troponins tell us if you've had a heart attack. The EKG does a great job of telling us how the heart is functioning, but you can do things like echocardiograms to see the anatomy and structure of the heart. And then you can do things like a stress test to see how the heart reacts when it needs extra oxygen. BNPs tell us about heart failure. There's a lot of ways you can work these up. All right, guys, so it's like 7:30 in the morning. As I'm sure you guys can tell from the lack of clips from tonight's shift, we had a very busy night. We were slammed with admits. We had a lot of calls from the floor. It was kind of like Wednesday night again, which, again, you kind of have to expect that on days when you're admitting, and then you're also covering for all the resident team patients, and one of the resident teams had admitted new patients in the afternoon. So basically just like a lot of new patients to the resident teams, and that just comes with a lot of things to manage. So yeah, we were pretty much busy the entire night. However, I am now done with 5 out of 5 nights for the week. That means I'm officially halfway through my night float month, which feels pretty good. I am enjoying it more than I thought I would be. Like the really busy nights like last night and, you know, pretty much both the other admission nights this week were tough. They were hard. They really challenged me, but we still made it through. And then, you know, the more relaxed nights were kind of nice, and it made you, you know, really kind of appreciate this rotation, because it does feel kind of good to be like on our own at night. Like obviously we're not completely by ourselves, right? Like we have an attending to call, we have other, you know, physicians in the hospital, we have consultants we can call. My coworkers and I have each other, right? Like we're not like by ourselves, but it's more by yourself than I have been so far in residency. And again, it's necessary for, you know, growing as a physician, being comfortable on your own, making decisions. It's stressful though. It's a lot more stressful than being, you know, here during the day when the hospital is full of people and, you know, you have your whole team and your senior and your attendings there. Like it's different. It's very different, but that's literally why we do this. And if I can keep doing this for the next 2 weeks, then we'll be okay. We'll get through it. And I have to remember, I still have 3.5 years of residency to go, and a lot of that will be spent being at the hospital at night. Anyway, you guys might be thinking that I'm going to go home and get some rest this weekend, but that is not the case, because in like an hour, I have to be downtown at an expo for the races that I'm doing this weekend to go get my bibs and everything. As I've said a million times, I'm doing a half marathon tomorrow, but today, as part of the same event, I'm doing their like Saturday 5K. So that's this afternoon at like 2 or 3. It's 7:30. I have to go downtown to go get my bib, like I said. I don't know when I'm gonna sleep. I really don't. Like, I don't think I'm gonna sleep today before the 5K. I think I'm just gonna have to like muscle through it, go run the 5K for the event, go home, probably knock out, and hope I get enough rest before tomorrow's half marathon. This seemed like a legitimately good idea, you know, 4 months ago when I signed up for it and thought, oh, I'll be on nights, but it should be okay. Now I'm like, dang, I just had a busy night of admissions and floor call, and now I'm gonna go run a 5K and then run a half marathon after. Kind of insane now that I think about it. But that's the life I chose, baby. You have to keep setting goals. You have to keep doing hard things, fun things. I'm honestly pretty excited. Oh, and not to mention, this vlog needs to get edited and uploaded tonight somehow between all of that. So I'm gonna end it here and head to the expo, but I wanna thank you guys for joining me and another week in residency and wish me luck on my half marathon. I will see you guys in the next one.